What's up? March 30th, 2022. It's Norm and Mike, the Leafs Convo on a Wednesday evening. How about it? It's because the Leafs have won two in a row. We have to talk about that. There's some injuries to be concerned about in terms of the goaltending. The defense still has all kinds of question marks, and Mr. Augello is going to be getting up bright and early Thursday morning to travel to the Jets Leafs game at Scotiabank Arena. So here we are. The Leafs Convo continues on. Good evening, Mr. Augello. How are you?
Well, I'm doing better than the Leafs goaltending. I mean, you can't make this up. And okay, like I said, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I will.
Do it.
Because I said before the deadline when we did our pre-deadline show that one of my main concerns was the goaltending, and not the fact that they had to go out and get Marc-Andre Fleury because that was ridiculous. But what I was concerned about was the fact that at the time of the deadline, Jack Campbell was hurt. We didn't know the severity of the injury. Of course, they did. Joseph Woll had just gotten hurt down with the Marlies. And so you were down to three healthy goalies
Yep.
system. And I said that, not a starter, not somebody who's going to take Jack Campbell's job, but something like what they did with last year with David Rittich, a goaltender that could come in and play. And because at that point, Eric Shalgren was not established, and he's still not established. Last night is the disaster scenario that we all feared, because Mrazek at the beginning of the year missed a total of almost 2 months with two separate groin injuries. One in the first game that he played, and then he came back after 2 weeks and hurt it again against Detroit, and he was out for, I think, 5 weeks after that. So he almost missed 2 months. Hasn't played really well until just recently, and now he gets hurt again last night against the Bruins, and they're saying he's going to miss some time, and sometime with a month left to go in the regular season means probably the rest of the regular season. This is, I can't say it's a disaster because they're locked into a playoff spot, but this is something that they needed to address, and they signing Harry Sateri and trying to sneak him through waivers was not addressing this. And I'm not being overly critical of Kyle Dubas. Maybe he tried and didn't find a right fit. But right now the situation is, they're in deep trouble.
Right. And that's the thing. They win two, they score 11 goals, they beat their contemporaries, Florida, a team the Leafs are chasing in the Atlantic. They unseat Boston, get into the top three in the division, swap places with the rival Bruins, tops in power play opportunities and power play efficiency, and top four in penalty kill. The offense we all take for granted. We know it's going to be there. It was designed that way. So you have a lot of good things going. You have a lot of good things going on that aren't necessarily surprising based on the personnel. And then you have the the components to a championship team being so tenuous and in trouble that cause guys like us to fear the end result of this team and its capabilities. And
Well,
and the problem is it's real and it's true and it's concerning, and we know the chickens will come home to roost. Yet it overshadows a lot of the good stuff, and you have fans out there and OGs and converts who I hear from all the time who say we're too negative, and nobody really wants to be negative, but these are things that prevail, and these are things that will affect, and these are things that will rear their ugly heads on more nights than not, and continue to do so even though the Leafs won the last two games. Like, just take a look at that Boston game. I mean, they won 6-4, but they won 6-4, and they gave up three straight goals to finish the game, two in the third. Had they not built that kind of lead, which sometimes they don't, we could have been headed for overtime, a potential loss, and another conversation that centers around a team that's giving up leads as opposed to one that's holding down the fort. So while there's lots of good going on, there's just so much to be concerned about, and we have a right to be.
Well, I mean, if we did the last convo after the disaster in
Right.
Montreal, and see,
Yeah.
this is the thing. It's like it's all fine and good that they beat Florida.
Hmm.
They didn't beat them convincingly. Florida outshot them. They got really good goaltending from Mrazek, and they scored. They scored at the right time, and it was a good victory.
Right.
Then they outplay Boston for 2 periods and hold on in spite of the injuries that they had.
Sure.
Those are great. The fact
Yeah.
that they beat, like you said, two contemporaries, it's temper. The excitement has to be tempered because they lost to the last place team in the league in the Habs, and it's like,
Does it make sense? That's the thing, guys.
well, it's not that
Does this make sense?
it's not that only just that it doesn't make sense. It shows an inconsistency that I think sort of bleeds any confidence you can have in this team. Again, they're one of the top 5 or 6 records in the league. What would they
Hmm.
be like if they beat the teams that they should beat? They're 0-5-1 against Buffalo, Arizona, and Montreal since January 1st. So, yeah, I mean, you can get excited, and I think that there's reasons to get excited based on how they played against Florida and how they played against Boston. But does that mean that they're going to play that way against them in the playoffs? Or does that mean the team that sort of took things for granted against Montreal and didn't, and even though they got 51 shots on goal, is that team going to show up? That's what Leaf fans want the answer to.
So, OG's converts, if you think the Leafs are a true contender, should they be losing to these bottom feeders and in the fashion they do? Right? Should they be giving up so many goals against? Never mind the power play and the penalty kill and the all world offense, which is not a surprise. Should they be doing this other stuff? Should they be committing all these infractions? Should they be this vulnerable in this way if this team is truly a contender? I'd like to know from you, Mike V. Giordano has calmed the decor. Great addition.
Yes.
He's got no points, but nobody really needs him to put up points on the defensive end. How about a bomb from the point on the power play and in a tight game in the playoffs? I'll take that all day. I don't really care if he scores. But Mike V makes a point here, and there's others in the conversation who feel like Giordano has been a good pickup,
Oh,
and he hasn't detracted from the cause. He hasn't made the cause worse. Statistically hasn't done a lot, but his presence certainly is. I mean, it's a benefit. How can you argue against it?
Oh, I can't. I think it's been a fantastic
Right.
acquisition so far. I mean, yes, he has no points, but
Mm,
he's played with Liljegren, and Liljegren, I think, has played really well with him because I think
right.
he's confident in the fact that he's got a veteran playing with him that sort of he can sort of play off of. You saw the benefit of Giordano last night when the two defensemen, and we'll talk about that in a minute, went down and they were 4D for the entire third period. It was rolling Brody, Riley, Giordano, and Liljegren, and he was calm, he was cool, he was collected. It was like no panic. And that's really what this team needs. I mean, when everybody again is healthy, when Muzzin is back, I'm convinced that right now, and I think Liljegren is here to stay. But when everybody is healthy, it's going to be
Right.
Riley and Lyubushkin, Brody and Giordano, and Muzzin and Hall as the three pairs. And that, I mean, that means your second pair from last year is your third pair this year.
Mm-hmm.
That improved depth will help. It's just a question. And I think, here's the ultimate right now. I would sign up for Giordano for another year right now, based on how he's played in 4 games. Maybe that's jumping to conclusions. I
What?
don't
How much would they have to pay him?
Well, that's the question. I mean, if he's expecting to make anywhere close to what he's made on his recent deal, then that's not going to happen. If he wants to go out and finish the last year or two of his career in Toronto, I'm not saying he's going to have to take 750,000 like the Spezza, the Saint Jason Spezza. But if he takes a couple million, like what Alex Goligoski just took with Minnesota. I mean, that's a I mean, I would sign up for that because You put him with one of the young defensemen, like him and Liljegren,
Mhm.
and you know that could be your second pair, that could be your third pair. I mean, I think that's fantastic. I think they would sign up for that. But I mean, they're going to worry about what's going on right now and worry about that after the season. But I can just say that right now he's had the desired effect of providing stability, calm, and experience to that blue line, and that when you get into the playoffs, that'll be invaluable.
Guys, this is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario. OakRidgeFord.com. At Norm at Oak Ridge Ford on Instagram. You can see all of the new friends that I make. There are OGs and converts in those pictures with smiles on their faces, picking up their new vehicles. If you guys need any help downsizing the engine that you're currently operating right now, you've got to call me. There's no reason why you shouldn't. I'm going to take care of you. I have an unbelievable reputation in this business. Probably because I'm not indigenous to sales, right? I've been selling myself and my product for 25 plus years in broadcasting. As a second career, you got to get your ass in gear. And I treat people differently than a lot of salespeople do, right? A lot of them are looking just to make a buck. For me, I'm looking to make friends, right? And I want it to continue on. And it's like we do the same kind of thing here um, with the convo, Mike. Yet we've been around the block so often. Stadler and Waldorf. Um,
When I sell myself, people ask if I have a buy one get one free coupon.
yeah, I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna laugh because we have such a good synergy. But here's the thing, right? We sell us getting together and doing what we do. People don't always agree with what we have to say, but that's fine. Why is it that you, and I understand with media now, you pick and choose what you want to watch because you really love it, but there's nothing wrong with watching something you disagree with and having a gentleman's or a gentlewoman's disagreement over it as opposed to us being trash or whatever. I don't understand that. Real quick, Mike, and I don't want to devolve this conversation into something that becomes ridiculous. But Commissioner, he thinks that you seep out negativity uncontrollably, and Chris Daniels jumped in and said that it's that you're not negative, it's you got strong opinions, and you're annoyed. You
Yeah,
know,
I
I
love
mean,
the fact.
we are annoyed. We love the Leafs, man. This is the Leafs Convo. We want them to win a championship, but what do you want us to do? Like sing "Kumbaya" every bloody show?
I love the fact that Commissioner says I'm wrong more times than not. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I have opinions. I'm sorry. The opinions are like a holes. Everybody's got one. But like I've been following this team and
And I also don't know that how this is an indictment of you. This isn't stump the Augello, right? I mean,
well, no, it's
who's 100% right all the time?
right. And like okay, for example, like I have opinions on this team. It doesn't mean that that's I advocate what I think the team should do based on my experience as first a fan and then as a reporter for the last decade. You can disagree with those opinions, and I'm sure that the management of the team disagrees. That's why sometimes they don't follow what's going on. I advocate at a certain point what this team should do, and if they don't achieve the results that everybody wants, then I think that changes have to be made. But hey,
Right.
you can disagree with me. That's fine. I like debate and I like disagreement, and I'm not like Will Smith. I'm not going to smack you across the face.
Yeah.
So
But the thing is, like, I don't know, with the Leafs, we both love the Leafs. We acknowledge their positive attributes. Okay.
yeah,
So where's the pat on the back for that? And we've acknowledged the fact they can't hold leads. Where's the pat on the back for that? That's true. They've lost 6 games to shitbox teams. Where's the pat on the back? We're acknowledging that. Nobody's saying that this team can't be good offensively. We all know that it is a great offensive team. But give you again, you can have the conversation, and this is for everybody. If you think this team is a contender and can win the Stanley Cup the way it's composed, the way it's put together, then go ahead and make state your case. I don't think so. That doesn't make me a hater. It doesn't make me negative. It's just the truth as I see it. And if I'm wrong and the Leafs are parading down Bay, I will gladly crow for
I'm
sure. If they catch lightning in a bottle and win the next Stanley Cup and then the next one and the next one and the next one, do you think I'm going to sit there and go, fuck, I was wrong, and I'm smarter than this team being good. Anyway,
I think the thing is, I think we're both realists, and this is like, I'm sorry, when a team can advance, either not make the playoffs or advance past the first round for 17 years, prove it to me. It's like, okay, I will doubt what you're going to do until you prove me that you can do it. So,
there's a drum banging somewhere, Mike.
Yeah.
There's a drum banging somewhere. It is what it is. You know, it's funny. The Florida Panthers, they remind me of the Leafs. You know, they score a ton. They give up a bunch of goals. That game, you know, as much as I get on the Maple Leaf for maybe not being ready for prime time fully.
Well,
I don't know about Florida, man. I mean, I'm more concerned about Boston, and I'm more concerned about Tampa. That Florida Panthers team is.
You have to remember that game. They played Spencer Knight, the rookie goaltender, and not Bobrovsky. Ekblad is out, so that's not. Now the question is, they play Florida 2 more times. Ekblad probably is not going to be back until the playoffs, so that will be a benefit to the Leafs. But I don't think the Leafs right now. Florida is the Leafs' target because Florida, I believe, is.
No, I understand that, but again, a lot of times your record doesn't. The funny, the record. What does it represent, right? What does your record really represent? What does it represent at the end of the day? How many teams have won President's trophies or have done really well in the regular season and peter out in the first round of the playoffs? So what does your record really, truly represent? And that just gets back to the essence of what I'm talking about. If this team gave up less goals, scored less, looked more complete, even if they did lose some close games, I'd feel more comfortable than watching a team that scores all world, loses to shitty teams, can't hold down leads, has all these problems that it does. That's just me, and we'll see how it all shakes out.
Well, and just to go back to one of our people in the chat here, Commissioner, he's like, you don't think
give him too much.
No. I want to answer the question. You don't think Dubas made calls on goaltending? Of course he did. Okay, where's the results? They didn't get a goaltender. That's the whole point here. It's like you tried to sneak Harry Sateri through waivers after signing him out of the KHL. That was a long shot, and that news was available at 2:00. The deadline was 3. Believe me, I like Dubas as a general manager. I think he's doing a good job, but this was the worry. Because Mrazek has been injury prone this year, and they have Shalgren as their number 2, and you didn't know when Campbell was going to be back. And now the Mrazek is hurt. You've got Campbell, who's still day to day, and they're not going to rush him back because you've got a month to go in the regular season, and they don't need him to get re-injured. So probably the next couple games, it's going to be Shalgren and Michael Hutchinson, and that's not an optimum situation. So now on the defense, and I mentioned it, and I have to get into this because I'll lose. I sort of lost my mind this afternoon doing the Buzzcast. The Justin Hall injury was unfortunate. He was hit by a shot. It hit him in the back of the helmet. He was cut. He missed the rest of the game. He could be concussed if you're hit with a 90+ mile an hour shot. So we don't know about that. We will find out about that tomorrow morning. The Lyubushkin thing, if you wonder why the Leafs fans are paranoid and they think that everybody's out to get them, okay. Jason Spezza, 4-game suspension for the hit on Neil Pionk against Winnipeg. Okay? 4-game suspension. Everybody thought that was over officious.
Right.
Okay? Austin Matthews with the cross-check responding to Dahlin. Okay, I thought he was going to get a game. He gets 2. Okay. I thought it was a little over officious there. Now, Taylor Hall bolo punches Lyubushkin after Lyubushkin hits him into the boards. It looks like it really didn't connect, but Lyubushkin goes down like a sack of potatoes and doesn't come back for the rest of the game. And all the NHL gives Taylor Hall for a act of retribution is a $5,000 fine. Leaf fans, I'm sure, were incensed this morning, and they have every right to be. And this is the thing: it's the inconsistency of penalization when it comes to the Leafs as opposed to other teams. It goes all the way back to Ty Domi and Ulf Samuelsson. They should have, there were players in the league that would have paid his fine for punching Ulf Samuelsson.
Right.
But this is what I mean. It's like, oh,
What do you make of that? What do you think the reason is for these inconsistencies? Why do because I'm getting this idea from you that the Leafs have a larger target on their backs, and
there are some people that believe that the league, when it comes to the Leafs, have the ability to send a message because it's the biggest media market out there, and so everybody, like, if they suspend Austin Matthews for 2 games, okay, if somebody does that, even if it's somebody who's never been suspended before,
right.
okay, this gets the message out there that you can't do stuff like that, and it's like, I mean, I don't know if that's true. All I know is
Oh,
there is
brother.
there is a paranoia on the part of Leaf Nation because this seems to happen over and over, and it's happened twice this year where I think they were penalized much more, and then an infraction is inflicted upon them. And if you want to go back, some people think Corey Perry should have been suspended for what happened to Tavares. I mean, I don't think it was purposeful, but sometimes some of these
And
things.
there was a high stick back in '93.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
But I don't know how to. I mean, this is conspiratorial, right? I mean, this is a truther discussion.
But
Um,
now, but now, see,
I don't know what to say other than um, it
here's
is what it is, Michael. Because you can't really reverse these things,
but
right?
here's the situation that they're in right now. So Muzzin's not back. Sandine is out
Mm-hmm.
probably for the rest of the regular season. It sounds like a knee injury, the reoccurrence of the knee injury
Yep.
that happened early in the season. So there's 2 out. Labushkin and Hall are question marks.
Yep.
So they called up Carl Dahlstrom when they called up Kyle Clifford on Monday.
Right.
So they could play him. They'd have to
Okay.
call up one more defenseman from the Marlies if neither one of those
Yep.
players could play. It could be Joe Dusek, it could be
Yep.
Christians Rubens, but you're getting on your 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th defenseman and your 3rd, 4th, 5th goaltenders. You're lucky it's a month away from the playoffs. You're lucky.
Right. Depth is a thing. Beyond depth, and the depth of depth is another completely. The Leafs, with everybody on board and running at 100%, aren't favored to do anything. The Leafs running at 45%, that remains to be seen what the final results will be. However, the team has an offense, as we know, that can compensate for a lot of these, for deficiency, for injury, and God forbid Matthews or Marner go down, Tavares, Nylander, and then that could be all she wrote. So as I criticize the team when the team is it full as it can be, and playing as good as it should, and gives up leads, and has these brain cramps that result in losses or near losses. And I make the comment that this isn't how you win big games down the stretch, nor how you're going to be successful in the playoffs. And it's true. It doesn't make me hate the Leafs or dislike the Leafs or want to discontinue the Leafs Convo for that reason. It's just a reality. If the team was winning every night by a 2-3 goal margin, giving up 1 or 2 goals or even shutouts, and it just looked phenomenal, sure, I'd believe at some point the Reaper would go from lurking to attacking, but I
Now,
would be making the comments that, man, this team looks invincible, and if it can stay the course, it has a good shot at winning a Stanley Cup. As we sit right now, I don't know how I can make a case to fans across the league, to general managers, anybody involved in the game, that the Maple Leafs are a legitimate contender to win a Stanley Cup the
well,
way they are put together right now, and with everything that they're having to deal with. Last few points to you, Mike, and we'll move on.
the 8 teams in the East. I mean, there are 8 really good teams, and 4 of them
Yeah,
will be out in the first round. So I
right.
mean, I think that's definitely a factor. And like I said, I think they're fortunate that right now it's March 30th and not April 29th.
Hmm.
Because the end of the regular season's April 29th, and the playoffs probably did start 2 or 3 days later. And if they were without Muzzin, if they were without Campbell, if they were without Sandine, I mean, they're without Andre Kasha. Those are players that are effective that would help them in their goal of at least getting past the first round. The other thing that didn't happen yesterday, and I know there were some people complaining that when Boston stepped it up physically, that guys like Kyle Clifford didn't respond in kind. When you're up 6-1 or 6-2, you don't want him to take an act of retribution.
Right.
A Marchand or against.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would anyway. We know the
Well, no.
Leafs
I'm just saying
aren't a
at that point in the game where they
right.
were, it was dumb to do. But believe
Yeah.
me, down the road, they need to do that. The one last thing, they signed Nick Aberzies
Yep.
out of Harvard. He almost got in yesterday. I think they want to have him practice a couple more times before they insert him in the lineup. But he's going to get an opportunity before the end of the year. He'll be in the mix. The other player is Matthew Nyes, who is a second-round pick from this year, who's playing really well at the University of Minnesota. He made the U.S. Olympic team. He's like a bull in a china shop, but in college games. But he's probably going to get signed. I was told that the Leafs are going to get him locked up after the college playoffs. Question is whether it'll be with the Marlies or the Leafs. It could be with the Leafs, and believe me, if there's a team out there that needs a big winger, it's Toronto. So he might get a look, but we'll see. That'll be the interesting thing in the next month to see if these guys actually get a good long look.
So Winnipeg at Scotiabank Arena tomorrow. You'll be there for it. And then we'll talk about it on Sunday, and that'll be after the Leafs take on the Philadelphia Flyers in Philadelphia, a game that has all the makings of a Leaf loss. So, 2 straight wins, back in the top 3 in the division. Let's leave, lots of shit going on. Clearly elite offensively, great special teams. Let's leave this special edition of the Leafs Convo on a positive note.
The positive note would be if the Leafs actually remember that Winnipeg, especially Neil Pionk, went after one of their players, and one of their oldest players had to respond by doing something he normally didn't do in terms of Jason Spezza. It would be nice if Wayne Simmons or Kyle Clifford tomorrow would take on Neil Pionk. I mean, not to go like 1975, but you have to respond. And I'm sure that game in Winnipeg is still in the memory of Leafs fans and of some of the Leaf players. So I will be looking to see if there is something done about what Pionk did a few months back.
Depends on the situation in the game, right, Mike? I just don't think the Leafs have it in them to come back and get retribution, revenge, make amends for something that happened 2 days ago. Never mind months ago. It would be a change in tact, a change in motivation. I just don't see it happening. Would I like to see it just for fun? Heck yeah, why not? I don't care. Again, I'm not a traditionalist. I'm not I'm progressive. I want to see this team involved, but I don't mind a little old school action. I don't mind some fisticuffs being thrown, some big hits. It's all. I mean, you're in an incubator, right? And you're grown men. You're playing a tight game, fast, speedy. It gets emotional. I don't see how everybody's supposed to avoid one another. And if there's something that needs to be settled, just to settle the fucking thing, then do it, man. My last word to you. I gotta go.
Yeah, as long as it's Wayne Simmons or Kyle Clifford and not Austin Matthews, because Nathan McKinnon broke his hand in a fight.
Right.
You don't need your best player to do that. So as long as it's role players, let them do the work.
No diggity, no doubt. Mr. A, it was pleasant to spend time with you on a Wednesday. Like I said, OGs and converts, we have lots of content coming your way. I am not going to tell you when we're doing them. You're just going to have to be ready for them, because going down the stretch, we may just throw one in there, and it is what it is. Sunday, that is an ironclad date for us, unless something's coming up with the family. And again, family first. But my Leafs combo family, a very, 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 very close second. Mike, safe travels to Toronto. Have a lot of fun at that Jets game, Leafs game, Jets, Leafs, exciting. We'll see you Sunday, okay?
Thanks, man.
Talk to you soon, OGs, converts. We're out.